Hey, what's up? What's up, everybody? This is Jeff from BKJMAC TV, and this is the BKJMAC podcast experience coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. This is season 3, episode 38. So, tonight's episode, we're going to review the movie that came out in theaters, had like a short run, and it ended up on streaming. I had the opportunity of watching the movie, and to me it was like it wasn't as good as I thought it would have been. Audiences liked it, I'll give you that. Audiences gave it 95%. Critics slammed it with 26% Rotten Tomato. The movie I'm talking about is Sweet Water, based on the athlete who became the first black athlete on the New York Knicks, Sweet Water Clifton. Now, let me tell you about Sweet Water in this movie. I went into this movie with the expectation that I was going to see a very flushed out period piece. Now, for some members of the audience that don't know what a period piece is, basically it's a movie that adopts an old school time period. Time period meaning it could be 10 years ago to 30 years ago to 100 years ago or even 300 years ago. That's a period piece. So the costumes, the cars, the attitude, the behaviors, etc., that's basically what it is. So this movie is a period piece, but it wasn't a really good period piece. I was reading a review on Roger Ebert's website. Roger Ebert, let me tell you, was a great film reviewer who passed away from cancer a couple of years ago. And his friend Siskel also passed away from cancer as well. My mom died from cancer, so the work is just devastating. The word is devastating to me. So Roger Ebert, he's someone that I respect tremendously. So I always go to his website to get an idea of what he gives movies, because to me his word is bond. So I respect his website tremendously. So when I went to Roger Ebert's website, the movie was given a half a star. And I was trying to figure out, why was it given a half a star? So when I went into the website, rogerebert.com, the article written by Robert Daniels, written on April 14, 2023, he talks about the movie being basically shallow, not having depth, not well developed, not well thought out, basically an embarrassment to Nat Sweetwater Clifton, who was played by Everett Osborne. And I agree. There were moments there were moments in the movie that were really good. The moments where he's competing as in the first night in the NBA, the second night in the NBA, because the first night was taken by another player. I forgot. Forgive me on this one. But Nat Sweetwater Clifton, when he suited up for the New York Knicks, it was because the reason was the commissioner didn't want to race riot in his hands. So he gave another city that was away that first night for a first African-American player to play in the NBA. Sweetwater didn't get a chance to do it in Madison Square Garden, but he became the second player to do it in NBA history. Now, the lack of development for me was the coloring. Like, it didn't give me old school vibes. It didn't give me that feeling. I felt like Madison Square Garden in 1949 was more grander than that. I've seen boxing movies, old school boxing movies from Madison Square Garden that look better than this basketball movie. I felt like a lot of things were sidestepped in order to save money. in this production. I felt like the camera was too close up. I felt like I didn't get a full court experience. I felt like they just did it on a half a set. And I play basketball, and I was like, nah, this is not good. I really didn't enjoy those scenes. And there was another scene that kind of made me uncomfortable. I think it was the boardroom scene where everybody says, "Oh, I want a Negro, I want a Negro, I want a Negro, I want a Negro on my team." And I was like, wow. And this is how white people were thinking back then. They just say, "I want a Negro, I want a Negro on their team." And it made me think, like, today's NBA players, it's like the NBA players are trying to get a control of ownership, because it's like predominantly the ownership is white and the players are black. And I think there was one owner from the movie that said, "This is not a Negro league. This will never be a Negro league." But today, 78% of the players are black. So I guess that owner was definitely wrong, because but I wouldn't call it a black league. NBA is a black league. I think it's just the most gifted players around the world that comes together and play basketball. NBA is not just American athletes. It's athletes around the world that's playing, that's enjoying the sport, that's executing on the basketball court. And it's not just focused only on black players from the American South or the American North. So when you look at the players, when you look at Sweetwater, to me, I felt like it could have been better. The fact he kept looking at his hands, like he got these big, balding hands, like it was like a force of God. I wondered, did he really do that in real life? Because it makes me wonder. Because if he did do that in real life, I guess it is what it is. But I just felt like, to me, like I'm just the messenger. It was like, it just made me, I don't know. It just made me mad watching that. I felt like there were just things that could have just been better. This movie could have been really good. There were moments of shock where I found the owner of the Globetrotters actually discovered the 3-point line. I read into it, and the owner of the Globetrotters in the movie and in real life, basically, he designed the 3-point line 25 feet away. He actually designed it 25 feet away from the basket, and he wanted to call it basketball's version of the home run. So baseball had the home run, and he wanted something to give to basketball that had its home run. So if you think about it, and this is the part I like the most, because it informed me about something. It gave me a massive level of detail when it came to that, because you see the NBA today is diluted. The game has diluted so much. I think when they take the 3-point shot, I think it's just ridiculous, because it's like they're shooting a bunch of home runs. And I'm like, it killed the essence of the game. It really did. When I look at it, it took me back to the Miami series against Boston, when Boston kept trying to shoot a bunch of threes. I think it was so annoying, because you kept going for the home run constantly, and it was just like stop it, man. It was just annoying. The home run, it's really there. It's like in baseball, I'm gonna tell you something. In baseball, it's hard to hit a home run. You gotta be feeling it one day on the bat, and boy, bases loaded, and then bang, and then you're up by a bunch of points. And in basketball, they just keep taking it so much. Like, they make everybody shoot threes, and it's to the point where it's just like, man, how many guys could just shoot the 3-ball? Like, to me, it's not fun anymore. It's just scoring a whole tons of points, and it's not fun. So Sweetwater reminded me of how the game used to be played. In and out, a couple of mid-range shots, layups. Then you occasionally shoot the 3, the home run shot to get more points. Or if you're down by 3, you shoot the 3-ball. If you're down by 2 seconds left, you want to win the game, you shoot the 3-ball. You hit the home run shot. Now it's just in this day, the shot that he created as the potential home run. Remember, he wanted to do it 25 feet away from the basket. Imagine if the NBA today adopted a 25-foot three-pointer as opposed to the 24, I think it's 23 or 24 inches, 23, 24 feet away from the basket. Imagine it was 25. I think it would change the dynamic of the game tremendously. I think the league wants to add a 4-point play. They were thought about adding a 4-point shot, which I think would be outrageous because it'll furthermore dilute the game of basketball in the NBA. Anyway, this is the review on Sweet Water Clifton. The movie is watchable. I mean, there are moments he was able to overcome to eventually get into the NBA. There were moments where finally the owner of the Globetrotters let him go to fulfill his destiny, which was to play professional basketball. Globetrotters was actually trying to get into the NBA as a unit, and the owner of the Globetrotters was trying to do that tremendously. I didn't even know that. So to this day, when we see the Harlem Globetrotters, remember them. They were trying to become a team in the NBA, but the NBA didn't accept them because they didn't accept their level of play. They felt that their level of play was just too amateurish, too very not respectful of the game. But little do they know, the stuff that the Globetrotters did, the NBA eventually adopted and basically made it its own for generations and generations to come. And you're really seeing it in the movie Sweetwater. The evolution of the crossover, the evolution of the behind the back pass, reverse pass, cut, 3-man weave, all of that stuff all came from the Harlem Globetrotters. And it just shows you how great the Harlem Globetrotters were and how forward thinking they were when it came to basketball. And the NBA wanting to sell tickets, they wasn't going to let an all-Negro team be in the NBA. But what they did was they took the players, and in the movie they referred them as Negroes. They're like, we break them up and we take them apart and put them on our team. Now it's just like, I think the NBA owes the Harlem Globetrotters an apology, and they should find some way to embrace them into the league, because honestly, without the Harlem Globetrotters, we wouldn't have the modern day NBA that so many fans sit back and enjoy today. That's just my honest, humble opinion. So the movie Sweetwater really opened some doors and some eyesights and some eyeballs when it comes to the history of the NBA and its relation to the Globetrotters and the owner of the Globetrotters. Let's be honest. Frankly, let's just be honest. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. It had some sensitive moments. The idea of overcoming adversity, I'm always liking movies like that for sure. There were some weak points. I felt like the production could have been much, much better. It could have been smoother. It could have really been a great period piece. Characters and stories and motivations could have really been flushed out some more. But it is what it is at the end of the day. So this is my review on Sweetwater. So it's on Hulu right now. So sign on, get a Hulu account, watch it, tell me what you think, if you enjoyed it or not. Anyhow, I enjoyed it. Hopefully you too. Peace, love, always. Thank you for listening to this episode of the BKJMAC podcast experience. Please follow my YouTube, BKJMAC, youtube.com/BKJMAC-TV. Again, youtube.com/BKJMAC-TV. Thank you for listening to this episode of this podcast experience. Peace, love, always, one. What's up? Good evening, Brooklyn. What's up? This is Jeff from BKJMAC TV, and this is the BKJMAC podcast experience coming to you live from Brooklyn, New York. Today's episode is a quick recap on the 77th start of the NBA season. Now, we're looking at all the games that happened from Tuesday when the league kicked off its 77th season through tomorrow when there's more games to be played. But we'll look at recap for all the games that's already been played starting on this past Tuesday. And then as we're about to look back on those games, I like to say that I took a trip to the Barclays Center and I went to opening night for the Brooklyn Nets against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now, let me tell you, the Nets had every chance of winning that game. The crowd was rocking. I was sitting at the suite. My first time ever at the suite section. Was treated with absolute respect, courtesy, professionalism. It was a great experience at the suite. I mean, there was just one jerk off at the bar, but other than that, everybody was just nice, sincere. It was just a great vibe. It was an absolute great vibe. And I would definitely recommend it. I would definitely do it again. It would be if you're looking, fellas out here, if you're looking to take your lady on a date, take her to a Nets game on the first date and get the suite. Oh man, you will enjoy it a lot. Definitely, it's a great, big, good date, but you gotta do it for the one that's worthwhile. Anyway, this is the recap of the NBA's 77th season. So we're going to look at all the games starting on Tuesday that has occurred thus far. October 24th is when the season started. Lakers versus the Nuggets. The Nuggets, who hung up their first championship banner in league history. Mind you, they were from the old ABA, and when the ABA merged with the NBA, the Nuggets were able to come over to the NBA, and they finally got their NBA championship. The Lakers, whom the media was publicizing big about LeBron, AD, and company, they got pummeled by the NBA champions, the Denver Nuggets, 119-107. Next game of our nightly cap, the Warriors versus the Suns. Now, I took a wager on this game. I had the game going over 219. Total score was 212. The Warriors scored 40 points in the fourth quarter. Suns couldn't buy a bucket. It was unorthodox. I couldn't believe it. Fourth quarter was like a role reversal, and it was a game that was I wasn't happy about the game. I didn't not the fact that I lost the bet, but I just didn't really enjoy it. I felt like people could have scored better points. I felt like it could have been a really big time game, and to me it just wasn't. It didn't have that big time factor for me. Suns beat the Warriors 108-104. Now, moving on to Wednesday, where most of the NBA teams played. The Hawks took on the Charlotte Hornets. Now, Charlotte Hornets opened the season at home. Now, I saw the Charlotte Hornets play the Miami Heat in a preseason game when I went to Miami. And let me tell you, the Hornets got beaten by Miami's bench because Spoelstra would not bring in his starters. And I thought, okay, the Hornets are not in such a good shape, but they surprised everybody, and they won their home opener against the Atlanta Hawks. Moving on, the Wizards faces the Pacers. This was a shootout in Indiana, and let me tell you, the Pacers beat the Wizards 143-120 in the post-Bradley Beal era. What a game. What a game. 143-120. And it was full regulation, no overtime. 143-120. Now that's a game you had to bet on. Going on to the next game, Rockets versus the Magics. Magics 116, Rockets 86. Now, the Magics home opener, no one's really thinking about the Magics. I mean, they got the rookie of the year from last year. And the Rockets have high expectations. But Magics quickly showed the NBA why they are the team not to forget, as they blew out the Rockets 116-86 at home. Now shifting over to Madison Square Garden, Jason Tatum and Kristaps Porzingis. This guy hit 5+ threes. I think he hit about 6 threes, but I think it was more like 5 threes. He hit 5 threes tonight at Madison Square Garden. This guy with Jason Tatum came in and they torched the Knicks 108-104. The Knicks at times finally got the lead, but knowing the Knicks, same old Knicks, they just couldn't hold on to the lead, and in a star-studded crowd, they lost the game 108-104. Moving on, Cavaliers versus the Nets. I was at that game. That game was it was a really good game. The Nets had a chance to win this game. They had a chance to win this game, and I did not like the three-point shot attempt that Cam Thomas took at the very end. They were down by 1 point. You do not need the three. He could have gone to the right. He was on I believe he was on the right side of the court, and he could have gone right to the baseline, and he could have drawn the foul because the Cavaliers were over the penalty. So regardless of the matter, he would have gotten through. He would have gotten fouled, and with 5 seconds left, the Nets would have won this game at the free throw line. Did not like the shot whatsoever, and also did not like Cam Johnson's poor defense on Strauss. This guy Strauss went off for 25 points. There were times I watched him and from the skyboxing, and I just watched this guy get open and just shoot threes. Unbelievable. It was just guy was just on. Johnson gave up. I don't know what that play was. He fell on the floor. And then Donovan Mitchell made the three. I was confused. I don't know. Was he looking for a foul? I have no idea. I was very, very confused. Very, very confused. And that ended up being the shot that put the Cavs over the Nets at the Barclays Center on opening night. A game the Nets should have won. But they did way better than they did last year, because last year they got blown out. Anyway, moving on. Timberwolves versus the Raptors. The Raptors won a nail-biter against the Timberwolves. The Raptors moving on from their coach, Nurse, who was let go during the offseason, and Fred VanVleet, who left during free agency. So the Raptors are playing in a new era now, and they beat the Timberwolves 97-94. Moving on. Pistons versus the Heat. The Heat opened up the season in Miami against the Pistons, and let me tell you, it was a close game. A lot of shots were missed. That's typical fashion of Miami defense. Expect low-scoring games when you watch a Miami Heat game, depending on their opponents. And they beat the Heat. Survived with their defense 103-102. Next up, Pelicans versus the Grizzlies. The Pelicans wanted to send a message. Last year, they won their opener on the road against Brooklyn in a blowout. This year, they came out and beat the Grizzlies 111-104, with the Grizzlies opening the season in Memphis. They beat the Grizzlies 111-104. Going on to the next game, Thunder versus the Bulls. Now, when I look at this game, I saw the highlights of this game. I was like, what the hell is this? The Bulls open up the season at home and they get blown out 124-104. It was an embarrassing loss for the Chicago Bulls. A lot of people paid good money to be entertained, to have fun, and they on the home opener, Chicago having a home opener, and they get torched by OKC. Now OKC is no slouch. They're a good team. I remember when I was at a game at the Barclays and they blew out the Nets, and I was like, damn, that's crazy. And looking at it now, they came in and beat the Bulls, blew out the Bulls in their home opener. Wow. Moving on to the next game, Kings versus the Jazz. Now, the Kings definitely wanted to send a message to the NBA. They wanted to send a message that we are not to be forgotten. Our run to the playoffs since 2006 is not going to be a fluke, and we're going to send a message loud and clear. Mike Brown and his team showed just that when they won 130-114 over the Jazz, with Jazz opening up the season in Utah. They too got blown out by the Kings. Moving on, Mavericks versus the Spurs. Now, the Spurs, their tall giant center who can shoot the ball, Juan Banani. I just butchered his name. This guy, this guy was just in foul trouble throughout the whole game. And wham, he was just he was trying to find his footing, and I think it's going to take time for him to really get used to the NBA game, because there's going to be plays that's going to come for him, and that's going to send him to that bench to sit down because of the foul trouble. So he's going to have to learn how to play with the fouls and avoid getting into foul trouble. Mavericks quickly prove it. Doncic hit the game-winning three from deep. Kyrie Irving hit a three from the corner. I'm going to tell you right now, the Mavericks are trying to show their critics that they can retool and get back into playoff form again. 123-119 is your result. Last game of the night, the Trailblazers versus the Clippers. The Clippers came in and they blew out the Trailblazers in the post-Damian Lillard era. This is the first season without Damian Lillard for the Trailblazers, and they looked overmatched by the LA Clippers, who are in full force. Russell Westbrook looked fabulous on the court. Kawhi looked gorgeous. Paul George is doing his thing. I mean, everybody on that team looked just fantastic, and they looked phenomenal. And they were dogging all over the Trailblazers. Final score, and they opened the season up in LA in the Clippers arena. Well, shared by LA Lakers as well. And let me tell you, this is their last season in Staples Center, or what the hell's the thing called again? I forgot, the crypto.com arena. So they're going to have their own arena coming up for the 2024-2025 season. So this is actually their last year, and hey, enjoy it while you can. Tomorrow, the final game, the 76ers will open up against the Bucks on the road. The Bucks look to set a statement with acquiring Damian Lillard. I don't know. Can the Bucks win on their home opener? Can Giannis do what he got to do? We'll find out. I feel sorry for Joel Embiid, because he is playing with someone that's unprofessional right now in James Harden. I mean, I understand you don't like your boss, but that's no way to disrespect your teammates. I don't care what you're going through with your general manager. Your players need you. Screw your trade demands. You wait until the end of the season. No one told you to opt into that contract. You could have been a free agent and tested yourself in free agency. You come here and you bring that nonsense during the regular season to the 76ers. That's James Harden right there. So, to be honest, I feel sorry for Joel Embiid that he has to deal with this nonsense. I feel sorry for the rest of the team that got to deal with nonsense with players demanding with dramas and stuff like that. So James Harden whatever he's doing, whatever prima donna antics he's doing, I just feel sorry for the Sixers, because the Sixers, with new head coach Nick Nurse, they're gonna have to figure out a way to manage tomorrow night in Milwaukee against Giannis and Damian Lillard, because if they don't figure it out, it's gonna be a blowout real quick. Excuse me. All right, guys, thank you for listening to this episode 40 of the BKJMAC podcast experience. Please check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/BKJMAC for videos and contents. Thank you for listening. Peace, love, always. One.